Hello, my name is Miss Lewis and I teach French and Spanish, and today mi casa es su casa. Today's video is going to be about common question words in Spanish in relation to the GCSE speaking exam. We will also take a look at how this range of questions differs in the photo card part of the exam for both foundation and higher. You may or may not be familiar with some of the question words I'm going to go through with you, but it's important that you know them because they do come up in all 4 skill areas which are examined for the GCSE Spanish exam. That includes your listening, your reading, your writing, and of course your speaking. And remember, in the speaking exam, particularly for the role play and the general conversation, you have to ask your teacher a question. So it's essential that you know how to create your own question words. The first word I'd like to share with you is que. Que translates to what in English. For example, ¿qué te gusta hacer en tu tiempo libre? What do you like to do in your free time? However, you have to try not to confuse this with the que that does not have an accent, as this would usually translate to that, and you wouldn't want to confuse the two. The second question word I'd like to share with you is porque, which means why in English. For example, ¿por qué te gusta jugar al baloncesto? Why do you like to play basketball? Also, again, try not to confuse this with the porque that is one word and doesn't have an accent, because that would mean because, and you really do not want to confuse the two. The third question word I'd like to share with you is cual. Cual has 2 meanings. It can either mean which or what. For example, or por ejemplo, ¿cuál es tu red social favorita? What or which is your favourite social media? The fourth question word I'd like to share with you is como. Como means how. For example, ¿cómo te llamas? How are you called? Or ¿cómo se escribe? How is it written? The fifth question word is cuando. Cuando means when. Por ejemplo, ¿cuándo es tu cumpleaños? When is your birthday? ¿Cuándo vamos a ir al cine? When are we going to go to the cinema? Number 6 is cuanto, or cuantos, or cuantas. It depends how many you have. And as you've probably guessed by now, it means how much or how many. Por ejemplo, ¿cuántos años tienes? How old are you? ¿Cuánto se cuesta? How much does it cost? Just remember that you will need to change cuanto according to whether the word that you are talking about or the amount that you're talking about is masculine plural or feminine plural. Coming in at number 7, we have quién. Quién translates to who or whom. Por ejemplo, ¿con quién te llevas mejor en tu familia? With whom do you get on better in your family? Number 8 is donde. Donde translates to where. Por ejemplo, ¿dónde vives? Where do you live? However, you may hear the other variation, which is addonde, which translates to where to. Por ejemplo, ¿a dónde vas de vacaciones normalmente? Where do you go on holiday usually? Or to where do you go on holiday usually or normally? And the last question word I'm going to give you is one that will usually come up in the role play, and that is ¿a qué hora?, which translates to at what time. Por ejemplo, ¿a qué hora empieza la película? At what time does the movie start? Okay, so now we've had a look at those question words, I'd like you to have a go at practicing them. So you can either pause the video or you can repeat after me. Question word number 1. Número 1 es ¿qué? 2. ¿Por qué? 3. ¿Cuál? 4. ¿Cómo? 5. ¿Cuándo? 6. ¿Cuánto? 7. ¿Quién? 8. ¿Dónde? 9. ¿A qué hora? Bueno, fantástico. There are lots and lots of different ways that you can memorize your question words in Spanish. I like to do mine to the melody of Jingle Bells. It's a song that I found on YouTube, and for me it really stuck in my brain, and I forced my students to sing this in class until it also got stuck in their brains. So I'm going to sing it for you guys, and then I'd like you to maybe try and practice it and memorize it yourself, or if you have another way, that's completely fine. Right, so now I'm going to have a go at singing the song. Let the cheesiness begin. Ahora voy a cantar en 3, 2 y 1. Cuando, when, como, how, cuánto is how much. Donde, where, porque, why, porque is because. Cuál is which, qué is what, quién is who or whom. A qué hora, at one time, donde is where to. Right, so now that you've heard the song, you can practice that on your own, or if you have another method that you'd like to try in terms of memorising the question words, then feel free to do so. Now you have seen the common question words in Spanish. And what I'd like to do now is show you a few examples within the context of the photo cards for the GCSE speaking exam. We're going to take a particular look at a few examples taken from the GCSE 2019 paper for AQA and how the question words I've shown you may differ between foundation tier and higher tier. Let's take a look. Vámonos! Let's have a look at the foundation questions first. The second question is, ¿Qué te gustaría hacer para celebrar tu próximo cumpleaños? We know that ¿qué means what, so the question would translate to what would you like to do to celebrate your next birthday? And then we have the second part of the question, which is ¿por qué?, meaning why. Here you are required to extend your answer to the first part of the question. The third question here says, háblame de una persona de tu familia. It's not really a question, but this háblame means tell me. So that would translate to tell me about a person in your family. Again, here you are required to be very descriptive about the person you choose to talk about. Now let's take a look at the higher questions for the same photo card. The second question is, ¿Cómo sería tu boda ideal? We know that ¿cómo means how. So how would your ideal wedding be? The third question is, ¿Con quién te llevas mejor en tu familia? ¿Quién means who. So the question would translate to, with whom or with who do you get along better with in your family? And then we have the second part of the question, ¿Por qué? Why? Here again, you are required to extend the answer that you gave to the first part of the question, giving reasons why you get on better with this person, perhaps making a comparison with your relationships with others in your family. Let's take a look at the second photo card. Again, we will focus on the foundation questions first. The second question for foundation says, ¿Cuál es el mejor transporte para ir de vacaciones? We know that cuál can either mean which or what, so our translation can have two meanings. It can either be which is the best transport to go on holiday, or what is the best transport to go on holiday. Then we have the third question. ¿Te gustaría pasar las vacaciones en España este año? Meaning, would you like to spend your holidays in Spain this year? And then the second part of the question we have, ¿Por qué? Or ¿por qué no? Why or why not, depending on your answer. Remember that here you have to extend for this second part of the question. Now let's take a look at the higher questions for the same photo card. Question number 2 for the higher is, ¿Cuáles son las ventajas de alojarte en un hotel? Here we have cuál in its plural form, cuáles, because ventajas is plural, advantages. So the question would translate to, what are the advantages of staying in a hotel? Question number 3 is, ¿Cuál sería el destino perfecto para tus vacaciones? What or which would be the perfect destination for your holiday? And the second part of the question here is ¿Por qué? Why? So here you would need to extend your answers by giving a reason why. Photo card 3. Again, we're going to look at the foundation questions first. Question number 2 for foundation is ¿Qué piensas sobre la idea de ir a la universidad? We know that ¿qué means what, piensas, do you think? So the question would translate to what do you think about the idea of going to university? Here you are going to give an opinion. Question number 3. El próximo septiembre, ¿vas a continuar en tu instituto? Next September, are you going to continue in your school? And then you have the second part of the question with our question word, ¿por qué? Or ¿por qué no? So here you would have to justify the answer to the first part of the question. Now let's take a look at the higher questions for the same photo card. The second question for higher is ¿Te gusta la idea de estudiar en una universidad en una ciudad grande? Do you like the idea of studying in a university in a big city? And then you have the second part of the question, ¿por qué? Or ¿por qué no? Why or why not? Again, justifying your answer for the first part of the question. And then we have the third question. ¿Qué vas a hacer para prepararte bien para los exámenes? What are you going to do to prepare yourself well for the exams? I hope that you can now recognise and use the most common Spanish question words, and also understand how the use of the common question words may differ when we look at the photo card questions for both foundation and higher tier in the speaking exam. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like the video if it was useful to you and to subscribe to the channel.